What if your alarm clock didn't make a sound, but instead dropped a solid block of wood directly onto your face? Imagine sleeping peacefully in your bed, lost in a quiet dream, only to be violently jerked awake by a blunt force strike to your forehead. In 1882, an American inventor looked at the traditional gentle alarm bell and decided it simply was not violent enough. His solution was a terrifying ceiling-mounted contraption designed to physically assault you into waking up. And if getting hit in the skull with a wooden block wasn't enough to get you out of bed, his design also hooked up directly to a live gas line. This is the bizarre history of U.S. patent number 256265, a device that blurred the line between a morning wake-up call and a permanent medical emergency. If you think your mornings are rough, you are about to feel a whole lot better about your snooze button. To understand why anyone in their right mind would build such a nightmare, we have to travel back to the late 19th century. America was in the middle of the Gilded Age, a time of rapid industrialization, where cities were expanding, factories were running day and night, and time itself was being commodified. Before this era, humans lived by agricultural rhythms. You woke up when the sun rose, and you slept when it set. But the Industrial Revolution changed everything, demanding that workers fit themselves into rigid, unforgiving hourly schedules. Missing your shift didn't just mean getting scolded by a boss, it meant immediate termination, financial ruin, and starvation. The pressure to wake up on time was immense, but the human body had a hard time keeping up. People were working grueling 12 to 14-hour days in noisy, exhausting factories. When they finally crawled into bed at night, they slept like the dead. Traditional brass alarm bells were becoming useless because tired brains quickly adapted to the repetitive ringing sound, allowing exhausted workers to sleep right through them. In places like Great Britain and some American industrial towns, people actually had to hire professional knocker-ups, who were human beings that walked down the streets at dawn with long poles, tapping on bedroom windows to wake workers up. But if you couldn't afford to hire a personal wake-up caller, you had to find another way. That brings us to Samuel S. Applegate, a resident of Camden, New Jersey. In 1881, Applegate decided he had seen enough of oversleeping, and he set out to create a foolproof solution. In his official patent application, he noted that ordinary bell or rattle alarms were not effective because people became so accustomed to the noise that their sleep remained undisturbed. His philosophy was simple. Sound is too easy to ignore, but physical touch is not. If your ears won't wake you up, physical contact certainly will. So, how did this strange machine actually work? Picture yourself lying in a cozy Victorian bed. Directly above your pillows, hanging from the ceiling like a heavy wooden trapdoor, is a suspended frame. Hanging from this frame by several cords are small, solid blocks of light wood or cork. Now, on your bedside table sits a standard mechanical alarm clock. Applegate's design connected this clock directly to the ceiling frame using a long cord attached to a notched metal plate. This plate rested precariously on the clock's winding spindle, which had a flattened side. When the morning arrived and the alarm clock triggered, the winding spindle began to rotate rapidly to ring the bell. As it turned, the notched plate slipped off the flat edge, releasing the tension on the main cord. Instantly, gravity took over. The heavy ceiling frame dropped down, and the suspended wooden blocks swung through the air, pelting you directly in the face.
Applegate claimed in his patent that these blocks would strike a light blow sufficient to awaken the sleeper, but not heavy enough to cause pain. However, anybody who has ever been startled awake knows that having a shower of solid cork blocks hit your eyelids is anything but gentle. And if you happen to be an exceptionally heavy sleeper, the design actually allowed you to swap those lightweight corks for much heavier wooden blocks. But as terrifying as getting smacked in the face with wooden blocks sounds, Applegate wasn't finished. He had one more feature to add, and this is where the invention transitions from slightly comedic to incredibly dangerous. In the late 19th century, homes were illuminated by gas lamps. To turn on a light, you had to manually open a valve to release highly flammable gas and strike a match. Applegate realized that even after getting hit in the face, a highly determined sleeper might still try to roll over and go back to sleep. So he built a mechanical linkage connecting the drop frame directly to the key of a self-lighting gas burner. The idea was that as the frame dropped to strike you in the face, the pulling force of the cord would simultaneously turn on the gas valve and spark a match to light the room. Think about the sheer mechanical instability of this setup. You are half asleep, disoriented, and being hit in the face by falling blocks in pitch blackness. At the exact same second, a crude system of pulleys is releasing explosive gas and striking an open flame right next to your flammable bedding. If the match failed to ignite, you would lie there unconscious from a wooden block, slowly suffocating on leaking gas. If the mechanism sparked too close to your blankets, your entire house would be engulfed in flames. It is probably no surprise that the invention never became a commercial success. While Applegate officially received his patent in April of 1882, there are no historical records showing that this device was ever mass-produced or sold to the public. The main issue was psychological. The human mind needs a sense of safety to fall asleep. If you knew that a mechanical trapdoor loaded with heavy blocks of wood was suspended directly over your nose, the sheer anxiety would keep you awake all night. You wouldn't need an alarm clock because your survival instincts would keep you staring at the ceiling in terror. Applegate's creation belongs to a very specific and wild era of late Victorian invention, where creators were obsessed with physically forcing people out of bed. Other patents from this time included beds that physically tilted 60 degrees to dump the sleeper onto the cold floor, and clocks that rigged buckets of freezing water to tip over your head. Compared to those, maybe a light slap in the face with cork wasn't the worst option, but humanity collectively decided that we would rather risk being late for work than sleep under a physical hazard. Today, Samuel Applegate's invention sits quietly in the deepest archives of history, a fascinating monument to how far we were willing to go to solve the universal problem of oversleeping. The next time your smartphone alarm gently plays a soft melody in the morning and you find yourself complaining about having to wake up, take a moment to look up at your ceiling. Be glad that your morning routine doesn't involve dodging falling blocks of wood or navigating a potential gas explosion just to start your day. If you found this journey into history's strangest forgotten inventions fascinating, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and leave a comment below. Would you ever dare to sleep under Applegate's concussion clock? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time inside the patent graveyard.